chapter 15. Then sang Moses and the children of Israel this song unto the Lord, and spoke, saying, I will sing unto the Lord, for he is highly exalted. The horse and the rider he thrown into the sea. The Lord is my strength and song, and he is become my salvation. This is my God, and I will glorify him. My Father's God, and I will exalt him. The Lord is a man of war. The Lord is his name. Pharaoh's chariots and his host hath he cast into the sea, and his chosen captains are sunk in the Red Sea. The deeps covered them. They went down into the depths like a stone. The right hand, O Lord, your right hand, O Lord, glorious in power. Your right hand, O Lord, dasheth in pieces the enemy. And the greatness of your excellency, you overthrowest them that rise up against you. You sendest forth your wrath, it consumeth them as stubble. And with the blast of your nostrils the waters were piled up. The flood stood upright as a heap. The deeps were congealed in the heart of the sea. The enemy said, I will pursue, I will overtake, I will divide the spoil. My lust shall be satisfied upon them. I will draw my sword, my hand shall destroy them. You didst blow with your wind. The sea covered them. They sank as lead in the mighty waters. Who is like unto you, O Lord, among the mighty? Who is like unto you, glorious in holiness, fearful in praises, doing wonders? You stretchest out your hand. You stretchest out your right hand. The earth swallowed them. You in your love have led the people that you have redeemed. You have guided them in your strength to your holy habitation. The peoples have heard, they tremble, pangs have taken hold on the inhabitants of Philistia. Then were the chiefs of Edom affrighted, the mighty men of Moab, trembling taketh hold upon them. All the inhabitants of Canaan are melted away. Terror and dread falleth upon them. By the greatness of your arm, they are as still as a stone, till your people pass over. O Lord, till your people pass over that you have gotten. You bringest them in, you plantest them in the mountain of your inheritance, the place, O Lord, which you have made for you to dwell in, the sanctuary, O Lord, which your hands have established. The Lord shall reign forever and ever. For the horses of Pharaoh went in with his chariots and with his horsemen into the sea, and the Lord brought back the waters of the sea upon them. But the children of Israel walked on dry land in the midst of the sea. And Miriam, the prophetess, the sister of Aaron, took a timbrel in her hand, and all the women went out after her with timbrels and with dances. And Miriam said unto them, Sing you to the Lord, for he is highly exalted. The horse and his rider hath he thrown into the sea. And Moses led Israel onward from the Red Sea, and they went out into the wilderness of Shur. And they went 3 days in the wilderness, and found no water. And when they came to Marah, they could not drink of the waters of Marah, for they were bitter. Therefore the name of it was called Marah. And the people murmured against Moses, saying, What shall we drink? And he cried unto the Lord, and the Lord showed him a tree, and he cast it into the waters, and the waters were made sweet. There he made for them a statute and an ordinance, and there he proved them. And he said, If you will diligently hearken to the voice of the Lord your God, and will do that which is right in his eyes, and will give ear to his commandments, and keep all his statutes, I will put none of the diseases upon you which I have put upon the Egyptians, for I am the Lord that heals you. And they came to Elim, where were 12 springs of water, and 60 palm trees, and they encamped there by the waters. All right, let's go back up to verse 1. So today we have a song. Singing is broke out, you might say, in the camp of the Israelites, for the Lord has brought a great victory. The Lord instructed them where to escape, you might say. They kind of stood there by the hole, and Pharaoh's armies charged in. The Lord just kind of helped them out there as Pharaoh's army was overthrown by the waters. Pharaoh, the great house, all the authority had come at him with everything he had. All of his works of judgment. He was throwing every law in the book at him, you might say, trying to exact every punishment upon him that could be exacted. They'd went about as far as they could go. But the Lord was hardening the heart of Pharaoh. Pharaoh didn't really realize what was going on. Of course, the Lord was just using him. That's why the Lord made the Pharaoh, just so he could use him it's just like anything else that we made. It's expendable. But nonetheless, the Pharaoh, acting in the great authority, which of course the Lord allowed, he brought his great host and his armies out against the children of Israel, who'd come out under the authority of the Lord. He was following the law of Hashem, and the Pharaoh was going to go down into the sea. The sea represents all the understandings. Of course, they're salted. They are in their days of purification, you might say. And as he goes to try to get across, he was unable to make it. And this is where the Lord brought the great victory for them, and this is what all the singing is about. We're going to pick it up here in verse 1. Then sang Moses and the children of Israel this song unto the Lord, and spoke, saying. So they sang this song. Moses, the one drawn out, the children of Israel, all those that come forth from the one that contends with the mighty one. And as we have seen here, with man as well, with a little help from the Lord. But this is what they sang. I will sing unto the Lord, for he is highly exalted. The horse and his rider hath he thrown into the sea. So I will sing unto the Lord. That's Hashem. That's the holy name, that name we use for our personal use, you might say. The presence of the Lord himself. He is highly exalted. As we have seen, there is no one higher than the Lord. He is the presence of creation itself. Sooner or later, everything kind of catches up with you. In other words, the horse and his rider hath he thrown into the sea. The horse here is the great strength that the Lord had created in the Sus. We'll find out it was the Pharaoh. And the rider are those ones who think they can control that position or take over and use it for their own purposes, as the Pharaoh was doing. But the rider as well, the horse, he threw it into the sea, down into those waters that had to be salted, because we'll find out that's where the waters come from, too. The Lord is my strength and song. He has become my salvation. This is my God, and I will glorify him, my Father's God, and I will exalt him. The Lord is my strength and song. Hashem is my strength. This is the one I'm going to sing to. We'll find out in the end. The Lord takes revenge for all those that keep his ordinances and statutes. Will see this is the dry ground they walked across when they come across that sea of written word. But this is my God. This is the one who I worship. This is El, my strength. This is I will glorify him. I will make him known. I will magnify him. I will magnify his understandings, his law, his ordinances, and his statutes. He is my Father's God, this one I come forth from. He is his Elohi, his power, his strength, his might. And I will exalt him. I'm not going to exalt another. I'm not going to look up to anybody else. You might say he is my master. He is my teacher. I don't have another. 3. The Lord is a man of war. The Lord is his name. Hashem is a man of war. He is the captain of the host, you might say, is the ruler of all the armies of heaven. The Lord is his name. Hashem is his name. That's his presence. We will see his presence is this man of war. 4. Pharaoh's chariots and his host hath he cast into the sea, and his chosen captains are sunk in the Red Sea. Pharaoh's chariots, his war machines, that's kind of like his judgments coming down. These things that we'll see, they got wheels, they go around. Sooner or later, they have their season. And his host And his host hath he cast into the sea, all of his armies, his multitudes of his chariots and his armies. They've been cast into the sea, you might say. Their understanding's going to need a little purification. And his chosen captains are sunk in the Red Sea. And these chosen rulers, these mighty ones he's set up over his ordinances, they're sunk into the Red Sea. They go down into the Sea of Reeds. There's all the waters that are written. 5. The deeps cover them. They went down into the depths like a stone. The deeps cover them. All the knowledge, all the understanding, this ignorance, it just covers them up. They're taken in it. They don't have no understanding. And just like a rock, they sink to the bottom. 6. Your right hand, O Lord, glorious in power, your right hand, O Lord, dashes in pieces the enemy. Your right hand, it's your great work, your mighty strength. Well, see, they make themselves known. It don't take a rocket scientist to figure it all out. Hashem makes himself known. It's with his great work, glorious in his power, glorious in his strength. We'll find he controls your heart, he controls your understanding. He's got you right where he wants you. His right hand, once again, it's his great work, his strength of his work. He dashes in pieces the enemy. You might say to dash in pieces, just like one would thresh out, separate. Here we're going to use it like grind up like dust. 7. And in the greatness of your excellency, you overthrowest them that rise up against you. You sendest forth your wrath, it consumeth them as stubble. And in your greatness of your excellency, that's the way we'll find Hashem has a way to raise himself up. When he stands up, I reckon there's going to be a little trouble. You overthrowest them that rise up against you. We'll see, that's mostly what gets him to stand up or show his great strength is when the children become oppressed, when there's somebody exalts themselves over his herd, his flocks, his children. They begin to oppress them. Sooner or later, the children cry out. Same old story, my friends. You sendest forth your wrath, it consumes them as stubble. And here comes the breath of the Lord. 8. And with the blast of your nostrils, the waters were piled up. The flood stood upright as a heap. The deeps were congealed in the heart of the sea. And with the blast of your nostrils, that's the place of breath. We'll find out the scent come in, as might not been as pleasant. The blast from the nostrils is this anger goes forth. The waters were piled up. That's all the understandings were stayed. They just simply stood still. The flood stood upright as a heap. And just like a wall, we'll see there's dry ground in the midst of the sea. The deeps were congealed in the heart of the sea. Stopped. We'll find out the Lord has the ability. 9. The enemy said, I will pursue, I will overtake, I will divide the spoil. My lust shall be satisfied upon them. I will draw my sword, my hand shall destroy them. And the enemy said, I will pursue. They thought they could, like I said, cut the mustard. They thought they could do it. I will overtake. I will be greater than them at doing it. I will divide the spoil. I will take that. We'll find out try to spoil the sanctuary, try to take that, and we'll see it doesn't belong to you. My lust shall be satisfied upon them. My desires, we'll see, to exact upon them, to drain from them. Fleece them like sheep and take your portion from them. I will draw my sword. My hand shall destroy them. I will draw my sword. I will show we'll see the sword, using it to destroy. That's a form of destruction. In the mouth, even your words, you might say, or even the sword if you want to put it in your hand. My hand shall destroy them. My work. We'll find out it was all about trying to exact, trying to take from, treat them like they don't know anything. Children of God. 10. You didst blow with your wind. The sea covered them. They sank as lead in the mighty waters. You did blow with your wind. But time changed things. See, the Lord has a way of blowing across time. A little bit of time, things are known, things change. The sea covered them. All that understanding went over top of them. They was just kind of taking in it. But that doesn't mean everybody is. They sank as lead in the mighty waters. These mighty waters, all these understandings, most of them men, they sank like lead, that which is weighty. That's going to the bottom. 11. Who is like unto you, O Lord, among the mighty? Who is like unto you, glorious in holiness, fearful in praises, doing wonders? We'll find out, going to the bottom, they was on top. Who is like unto you, O Lord? Because he's the one that did that. See, the Lord brings you up, and the Lord casts you down. Among the mighty, there is none like him. Who is like unto you, O Lord? Talking about Hashem. He's the name, he's the presence of the mighty one himself. In holiness, fearful in praises, doing wonders. Glorious in holiness, in his separations, in his magnificence. Fearful in his praisings. Fearful in his praises. That's because you got to be careful what you say. Doing wonders, magnificent works. 12. You stretchest out your right hand, the earth swallowed them. You stretched forth your right hand, your great work, your mightiness, and the earth swallowed them. They was taken in, they was drawn in. We'll find by flesh, consumed by it, and then those knowledges. 13. You in your love have led the people that you have redeemed. You have guided them in your strength to your holy habitation. You, Hashem, in your love have led the people that you have redeemed. Those that the Lord redeems, we'll see, to be redeemed is to be saved. It's to be forgiven. It's to be under a covenant, you might say, one who's to take up these purposes. We'll find when you keep the law of Hashem, you won't have to face these diseases or the laws and ordinances of men. You have guided them in your strength, and this is the power, this is the strength of Hashem. He guides you. He's your teacher to his or to your holy habitation. We'll see it's the sanctuary. It's his places he's sanctified, he's separated, he created it for a purpose. It's hallowed. It's where he dwells. 14. The peoples have heard, they tremble. Pangs have taken hold on the inhabitants of Philistia. The peoples have heard. They know. They tremble. There's fear, you might say, because and this Philistia, are those that wandered off, they kind of drifted off in the beginning from what God told them to do, and that was to keep the law. These ones who kind of represent having that knowledge. 15. Then were the chiefs of Edom affrighted, the mighty men of Moab. Trembling takes hold upon them. All the inhabitants of Canaan are melted away. Then were the chiefs of Edom affrighted. Edom means red. That's kind of like you're showing the sin in the flesh. Everybody can see you. The mighty men of Moab, trembling takes hold of them. Moab is the incestual son of Lot and his daughter, and trembling has taken hold of them. All the inhabitants of Canaan, that place of humility, are melted away. It's fear. 16. Terror and dread falls upon them. By the greatness of your arm they are still. Terror, dread falls upon. Truth sounds, you might say. Understanding comes sinking in. Fear, because we find out the Lord is bringing it to its head. He's bringing it to its full. That way he can bring forth his great judgment. Once again, it's by the greatness of your arm, his great strength through the law, the stone, they are become still. We'll see, they made quiet standing there with their jaw dropped open, until your people pass over. These are the Lord's people that are going to come forth. O Lord, these are your people. Till your people have passed over, that you have gotten, these ones you've called out, these ones that you've put the law in their heart and their understandings, will find they're going to bring a great victory forward. 18. You bringest them in, and plantest them in the mountain of your inheritance, the place, O Lord, which you have made for you to dwell in, the sanctuary, O Lord, which your hands have established. You bringest them in. We'll see, the Lord is the one that calls you. He is the one that brings you in. You'll come through the gate, the place of judgment, and those ordinances and statutes the Lord gives you, even in the beginning. He plants them in the mountain. That's the high place of his inheritance that belongs to him, the place which Hashem has made for him to dwell in. That's the place sanctified. It's clean. It's washed. It's made pure. We'll find out everybody standing in their integrity. The Lord has established you. The Lord, if you're standing in your integrity, you're washed clean, you have your authority. That's if you're keeping the law. That's the authority the Lord gave you in the beginning. It's your wisdom. It's your knowledge. That's the work his hands have established this place. 18. The Lord shall reign forever and ever. And Hashem has made that place. We'll find out the laws and the ordinances, statutes of men will never get there. They don't have the ability. 19. For the horses of Pharaoh went in with his chariots and with his horsemen into the sea. The Lord brought back the waters of the sea upon them. But the children of Israel walked on dry land in the midst of the sea. For the horses of Pharaoh, that's all those great strengths he thought he had control over. Well, see, the Lord made Pharaoh. The Lord made the horse. The Lord made the rider. The Lord made the sea. They went in. They thought they could go down. They thought they could handle it, cross across all these great waters, all this understanding that's being salted they thought they could thick through the thicket, you might say, but they wasn't able to do it. The Lord brought back the waters of the sea upon them. It all returned on their own head, back to their own understanding. That's where it came from in the beginning. But the children of Israel, that's all those that come forth from the mighty one, one who contends with the mighty one, and men, they walked on dry land. We'll find out the Lord had made it firm a long time ago. It was right in the midst of the sea, right in the midst of the water. Pharaoh couldn't find it. Him and his armies, they just couldn't seem to stay on the path. It's the law. 20. And Miriam, the prophetess, the sister of Aaron, took a timbrel in her hand, and all the women went out after her with the timbrels and with dances. And Miriam, the prophetess is one who speaks in a feminine sense, you might say, pleasurably. And we always think of feminine as having a little more pleasurable understanding to go with it. Miriam are these that are rebellious. We'll find out. We have just went through one of the greatest slave rebellions in history. It's the Exodus. She was the sister, or the one had a similar understanding as Aaron. He is the light bringer. She takes a timbrel. A timbrel is something, everybody knows what a timbrel is. It's something you shake. It makes kind of a rattling sound. It quivers. It's in her hand. It's a little bit to remind you, something that's going to make a sound to remind you. It's audible. Now, these women, those things from men, went out with their timbrels and with the dances, quivering in fear. We'll see these feminine things that will come from men. 21. And Miriam sang unto them, Sing you to the Lord, for he is highly exalted. The horse and his rider hath he thrown into the sea. And Miriam, these that were rebellious, will find pleasant. It was only what was right, saying, Sing you to the Lord, sing you to Hashem, for he is highly exalted, he is the greatest, he is the mighty one. His understanding, his knowledge are exalted above all men. The horse and his rider hath he thrown into the sea. Once again, that horse, his great strength, the Lord created him in the beginning. And the rider, the one that sits there, he's got the reins in his hand. He thinks he can control everything. Lord made him too. He's thrown him into the sea, thrown him into that knowledge, that's that waters that are going to need a little purification. 22. Moses led Israel onward from the Red Sea, and they went out into the wilderness of Shur. And they went 3 days into the wilderness and found no water. So Moses led Israel onward from that Red Sea, and they went out into the wilderness of Shur. This one drawn out, he led Israel, those that contend with the mighty one, and men as well. They going out into the wilderness, that's where the words are driving out. Those words are the laws of Hashem, and wilderness of Shur. Shur is, it's a wall, but this wall is something you might go around, to see, to spy out, we'll see, or to see. And they went 3 days into the wilderness, 3, because it completes the understandings of the wilderness, even those things the words are driving out. That's what separates. And they found no water. They found no water. The understanding wasn't there, you might say. 23. And when they came to Marah, they could not drink of the waters of Marah, for they were bitter. Therefore the name of it was called Marah. And when they came to Marah, Marah means bitter. That was a place where they found some water. They found water, but the waters were bitter. That understanding they had found, of course, from the law of Hashem, was bitter. And when they first found it, they couldn't drink of the water. They couldn't take of that understanding. Well, they had guilt. They had guilt. The waters were bitter to them. Therefore, the name of it was called Marah. That's why they called that place. They called it water. They give it that shem. They give it the name of bitter. For 24, and the people murmured against Moses, saying, What shall we drink? So the people murmur against the one that's drawn out, saying, What shall we drink? What are we going to do now? They'll think they're dying of thirst, naturally. 25, and he cried unto the Lord, and the Lord showed him a tree, and he cast it into the waters, and the waters were made sweet. There he made for them a statute and an ordinance, and there he proved them. And he cried unto the Lord, to Hashem, and the Lord showed him a tree. And we'll see, the Lord does show him a tree, but this tree here is a tree that's been chopped down and split. We'll find out hewed into a piece of wood, into something that's going to represent something that exalted itself before, had to be chopped down, hewed up, and it's cast into the waters, and the waters were made sweet. A little something to remind you, maybe, that this is what the Lord wanted. There he made for them a statute and an ordinance, and there he proved them. This was the will of God from the beginning, and there he made them a statute, an ordinance. Something you're going to have to go by. There he proves them to see if they can cut the mustard. 26. And he said, If you will diligently hearken to the voice of the Lord your God, and will do that which is right in his eyes, and will give ear to his commandments, and keep all his statutes, I will put none of these diseases upon you, which I have put upon the Egyptians. For I am the Lord that heals you. And he said, If you will diligently, with all your heart, and all your knowledge, and all your understanding, listen to the voice of the Lord your God. That's Hashem. He's in each and every one of us, my friends, and he speaks through your own understanding, your own common sense. He speaks to you to tell you what's right, what's wrong. It's you that don't listen, and will do that which is right in his eyes, and keep these ordinances and statutes the Lord has given you. He puts them in your heart. You don't have to ask nobody. Do that which is right in his eyes, that which is before him. He sees you. He knows what you're doing. We have evil in the world, my friends. I know what your heart says. Keep all his statutes, those things he tells you. I will put none of these diseases upon you. And that's how we know. Every disease, every malignance is upon us. And they think they're not punished. We'll find out when if you would have kept the law of the Lord, these evils would not have come upon you. These things which he put upon the Egyptians, that's those in the place of the grave. That's where death is. For I am the Lord that heals you. And Hashem is the only one that has the ability. He's the one that changes your heart. He changes your mind, and all you have to do is want it. 27. They came to Elim, where there were 12 springs of water, 70 palm trees, and they camped there by the waters. They came to Elim. That's a place of palm trees. That's a place of correct teachings, these correct, right things, upright, you might say, correct. There were 12 springs of water. There was understanding coming out. These springs of water, water's just gushing out of the ground. 70 palm trees. 70 scores, not the way it'd be written, it would be 6 tens. Because the work of man is the law, and when we add the law, we get those correct teachings, these palm trees. They encamped there by the waters. This is the place where you'll rest by these understandings. We're moving forward. Exodus chapter 16. Turn and return.